Welcome to the Healthy Half Hour podcast. We are your hosts, Richard and Karen Insley.
The Healthy Half Hour podcast is your resource for all things healthy, and we will be discussing how to make nutrition, fitness and lifestyle choices work for you.
We will be sharing our own personal insights along with research gathered from working in the health and fitness industry for the past 10 years.
Our show is brought to you by the 7 Day Shred, which can be found at 7dayshred.com, and please feel free to visit our podcast website, which can be found at healthyhalfhourpodcast.com.
And now on to today's show.
Welcome back. I don't know if you remember, a couple of weeks ago we were covering some diet and exercise myths, and we didn't get all the way through them, but we knew that we wouldn't get through the whole list that day. So this is going to be the second half of it. So
Exciting stuff.
Yeah. So
save the best to last.
What have you got to start with then?
Me? Nah, not a lot. Nothing's really happening. The fall is upon us now, and just clean the garden up and getting all those jobs finished towards the end of September and stuff. And it's just kind of waiting
Kids
for...
are back at school, people are back from the cabins.
Busy with work now, and just waiting for the snow, which hopefully won't come till December.
Don't mention the S word.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Yeah, but people in the UK all want snow and we don't.
Yeah.
But it's coming. It's a-coming. So yes, like Karen said, just picking off the last of these diet and exercise myths. So we'll start off with, again, one thing. I used to do triathlon some years ago, and the myth that you need to be thin to be fit, go to a local triathlon or a local half marathon or something, and you'll see some fairly big people competing. I mean, even in triathlon now, they've actually got their own class called the Clydesdales, and you've got to be over a certain weight to compete in the Clydesdale class. And I mean, there's some fit people out there. Again, especially with weight-bearing exercises like swimming and cycling, you can be on the larger side, and you can be certainly up there with the skinnies. Running sometimes, again, has its a little bit of drawback because you've got a little extra weight to carry when you're running, but more often than not, the body will actually compensate and make leg muscles and other muscles larger to actually compensate that extra weight. So again, from an aerobic capacity point of view, you don't necessarily have to be thin to be fit. And some years ago, we used to run a studio not far from here, and we had a fitness instructors who were on the larger side, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
And they used to run, and again, they ran great classes, and everybody used to get the same kind of workout from that as if somebody who was a stick was doing it. So yes, you don't necessarily have to be thin to be fit. So if you're hanging back from increasing your fitness level because you're feeling you're overweight and can't do it, then wrong. Get in there and increase that fitness level. It will help.
Oh, but is that people who say, I've got to get fit before I see a personal trainer? You've had that so many times.
God, yeah, I'm gonna join the gym for 6 months and then I'll come and call you. Really? It's like doing your own accounts and then submitting them and then calling your accountant. Why would you do that? You know what I mean? It's people are people.
So you don't have to be thin to be fit. But going back to that triathlon, and there was an event that used to be run at our local park. I do think there should be a dress code, because there was that guy that used to wear the bright fluorescent green lycra pants and zero support.
Yeah, he did need a strap or something of some description, yeah. I just think because he was in his 60s, he was just happy that, yeah.
He was still doing stuff, but it's like you can't unsee that stuff.
Well, I'd actually got that image out of my head now, and thanks for regurgitating that one. But we will.
I will leave you with that one.
We will move on. Talking of age, people always assume that your weight has to go up with your weight as you get older, which isn't necessarily so. There's no reason why you're 70 and you're not the same age, really, as what you were when you were 21. Sorry?
You're not the same weight.
Sorry, not the same weight. No, the same age.
Of course you're not the same age as you were when you were 21.
I'm glad you're monitoring me. No, you should be the same weight, really. Again, when you're 21, so you're an adult by that point. Fully mature adult, and really, again, later through your life, there's no real reason, unless you become a bodybuilder or something and you actually put excess weight on of muscle, or your actually muscle mass changes. But really, from a fat perspective or anything, no, there's really, if you're fairly lean and fit at 21, there's no reason why you shouldn't be fairly lean and fit at 70. So, I mean, there's no actual reason why you should. I mean, metabolically, yes, your metabolism does slow as we get older, but adjusting caloric input or caloric output with exercise can make up for that. So, I mean, again, there's no real reason from that. So, yeah, people will say, oh, yeah, I'm older now, so my weight should go up. Yeah. As everybody said.
My oldest boot camper is 84 and she does burpees. She's in great shape, and she spends the winter, she spends 6 months in Thailand, and she does full marathons, like run, walk, and the last one she did, she goes, oh, I walk the whole lot. I'm like, well, at 84, like, if you can walk 42 kilometers, like, at that age, and she will be in boot camp, and some of my other participants who are 20, 30 years younger than her say, wow, I want to look as good as you, like, when I get to your age. And yeah, she just moves, and she didn't start exercising until she was 50 as well.
And then she became an instructor, didn't she?
Yeah.
Becomes a fitness instructor at 55 or whatever. But, yeah. So another one, again, talking of body fat and things, is you often see people that put the memes on, or they're going to do a diet and they're going to turn all their fat into muscle. No, you're not. You can't turn fat into muscle. No. Fat is basically a glycerol backbone with 2 fatty acids. Muscle is amino acids. It's 2 different things. So you can lose body fat and then you can gain muscle, but you can't turn fat into muscle. It's like turning
water into wine.
I knew wine was coming. I was going to say lead into gold, but I mean, I knew the W was coming and you were going to hit us up with the wine thing.
Yeah, because like we talked about drinking 8 glasses of water, and in the previous one, that one that we did, and
wine came up again.
Yeah, wine came up then.
Yeah,
so,
no. So you go to the gym and you jump on the treadmill. The treadmill says, oh, you've burnt 200 calories. So this is kind of a 2-parter. One, that 200 calories is a guesstimation. So it's just basically guessed on, if you've not actually put in your age and your weight and a couple of other numbers that will help the algorithm in the back of the treadmill figure out your caloric expenditure, then it's just basically taken off. Is it £165 male?
No, that's a supplement. If you're taking supplements, the dosage on a supplement bottle is based on £185 guy.
But there is just a generic number they pick for treadmills and ellipticals and things. So, I mean, if it does say you did 200, don't take it that it's definitely 200. For you, depending on your size, it may be 250. If somebody's smaller and younger, it may be 150. So, again, it's approximately. You were on there and you did something. And the second part of this is when you actually stop, that's not when the calorie burning finishes. So even when you're lying in bed, you've still had an effect on your body from doing that exercise. So there's still something called EPOC, which is exercise post-oxygen consumption, which is basically your body renormalizing afterwards. And like we spoke on the other podcast again about when we went into sugar a little bit and then sugar being partitioned into fat. So those sugar stores will want to be topped up, and then your body at night time can break fat down and actually top the sugar stores up in your liver and your muscles. So while you're asleep, more often than not, that's your most fat burning opportunity. So if you've exercised through the day, that will continue on through the night for up to 48 hours, depending on the intensity and what you did with the exercise. So the majority of the time, it's around the 24-hour mark, I think. So again, it's not necessarily what you're doing it on that point. There is kind of that lag afterwards when the body's kind of catching up again, renormalizing itself, which again can take extra time. So it's not just necessarily what you're doing at that moment.
Yeah. But also, there's a lot of commercial weight loss products out there that target partial information like this. So, eat this food, like take this and you'll lose body fat while you sleep. It kind of like really depends on what they've cherry picked to include in their formula or what they're going to like sell to you.
So yes, that's it's certainly worth thinking about. Again, this is not what you're doing at the time. It does add on, and again, 200 calories is approximate. And with treadmills, again, you don't need to run. Just going for a walk, you're getting that metabolism going. And we were obviously with the slowing of the metabolism as we get older, the way to increase your metabolism and speed it up is make your metabolism work. Because, I mean, while we're sitting there doing nothing, your metabolism's on idle. So while your metabolism is on idle, that's when your thyroid's working, and then your thyroid's affecting your metabolism because you're not doing anything. But you go for a walk or something, a brisk walk where you start to not breathe overly heavy, but your breathing rate increases and your heart rate increases, then that metabolism is increased because now your body's got to actually do things, your blood flow's increased. And again, that sugar burning, calorie burning goes up because the metabolism increases.
And even if you put metrics into the treadmill or whatever machine you're on in the gym, I mean, there's a lot of other things that factor into it as well. Like, you know, are you insulin resistant? Like, what's your current body fat percentage? Like, your metabolic efficiency, it doesn't take any of that into consideration. So,
did you have a stressful day? Did you go into there with raised cortisol levels because your boss has just reamed one out on you? Did you sleep well the night before?
Yeah.
And there's so many differing factors that can have a big effect on that caloric expenditure. It's worth noting again from a mental point of view, but from a body point of view, not so much.
I know, and you see on Facebook like, I burn X amount of calories at this fitness class. Like, yeah, it's a selling feature on the machines more than anything. And we used to know a girl who went to the gym and she'd have the treadmill on an incline. And she'd be hanging on for grim death because she wasn't fit enough and strong enough to walk the incline at the speed that she'd set it at without holding on. So I said, let go. And she goes, oh no, because I can't do it else. And I'm like, well, you need to lower the ramp down slightly. Well, no, because I'm not going to burn my 1,000 calories if I do. Well, if you're holding on to the handles on the side of the treadmill, you're just hanging off the back of the treadmill. You're not actually doing anything. You're doing something, but you're not burning that 1,000 calories.
Well, again, it's at least you're moving. But I mean, so for she could probably do way more better exercises that would do her a lot more good than hanging off the back of the treadmill burning those calories.
It was funny.
True.
Yeah, she was happy.
Yeah. Don't eat late at night.
Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of things like you say, shouldn't eat past 7 o'clock, shouldn't do this. Well, to be honest, like, it doesn't really matter what time of day that you eat. What factors in more than anything to this is whether or not you're currently at a healthy weight. And what I mean by that is that whenever we eat, our cortisol levels raise in our body. So our cortisol is our internal coffee pot. Cortisol's naturally high in the morning, so it gets us out of bed. This is natural. So what gets us up in the morning is the fact that our cortisol levels are at their highest. But the thing is, whenever we eat anything, and it doesn't matter what we eat, it will raise our cortisol levels. But if you're currently at a healthy weight, your cortisol levels might go up by about 5%. So that internal coffee pot, if you eat an hour before going to bed, you're at a healthy weight, at 5% rise in cortisol, it's not really going to disrupt your sleep habits that much. But if you're overweight or obese and not currently at a healthy weight, your cortisol levels can raise from eating your meal by up to 51%. There's a huge difference there. So if your cortisol levels are elevated by 51% just before you go to bed, that's going to affect your sleep habits and you're not going to get to sleep. You're going to have disrupted sleep patterns. So eating late at night is not bad, but it's bad if you're not currently at a healthy weight. Sometimes our lifestyle does not allow us not to eat close to going to bed, but then maybe reduce the portion sizes. But at the end of the day, it can still excessively elevate your cortisol levels by if you're not at a currently healthy weight.
One thing that can run into effect there is basically what you're eating late at night too. Mm-hmm. So I mean, if you have a large pasta supper, then again, going back to those processed sugars, you're feeding yourself an awful lot of sugar just before you go to bed. And like we say, obviously you're in bed, you're asleep, you're lying there, your metabolism's going to drop. There's very little caloric expenditure while you're asleep. Even though you are burning calories, your brain's still working. There's very little caloric expenditure. So you're not getting an opportunity to get through those sugars. So you're probably better off having something more of probably a higher fat or higher protein level before you go to bed. So
not a big meal,
but not a large meal. No, for sure. I mean, it's okay to eat, but again, you don't want to eat a large bolus of food before you do go to bed. And also, it does matter what it is. So just take that into the consideration if you do have to eat late at night, like we do.
And yeah, as I say, I mean, like our lifestyle, professionally during the colder months, I mean, our days are longer and we get home later in the evening, especially you, and sometimes you'll be eating at 9 o'clock at night and we'll be going to bed at like 9:45, 10 o'clock. Your body will adapt as well. So our lifestyle is such at certain times of the year, but our body adapts. So, being at an unhealthy weight is going to be your main driver around not eating before you go to bed. But your body can adapt as well.
True. So, okay, let's do it. We skipped it from the last one. We didn't even do it, but we're going to need to nail this one. Detoxing. You see online, drink this, eat this, take this pill. I had a summer at the lake with all the yada yada. I'm going to take this detox potion now to... Really?
Yeah, if your liver and kidneys ain't working, you need a hospital, not a detox potion.
If you're thinking of detoxing, just cut the crap out for a while. You don't need to buy any pills, potions, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there is... the drink, if you want to drink the apple cider vinegar and the lemon juice and everything else, yes, it can have some efficacy. There are some studies that show. But again, all that you're doing at the end of the day is you're just cleaning your diet up. So if you're cleaning your diet up for a week, you'll detox.
Yeah, because if you've been to the lake for the summer and eaten chips and drank too much alcohol and consumed a lot of processed carbs, you come home, take this multi-level marketing company's detox product. Yeah, you think it's working because you're literally starving the body and just cleaning everything out. So it's not the product that's working. It's just you're starving the body of all the crap that you've just been spending 2 months putting in it.
Yeah, so again, less processed food, so less preservatives and everything. So again, just clean the diet up, drink some clean water. Not 8 glasses a day like we discussed last time. Just drink enough so your pee's clear and you feel like you're not thirsty. And yeah, you will detox yourself and save yourself a ton of money. So yeah, when you see them on the detox drinks, pills, but yeah, just don't save your money. Just basically eat smarter, clean everything up, and your body will do exactly the same. And you may see some of that detoxing come through your skin as acne and things. And again, that's just your body just dumping all the toxins out of the system, because we got certain pathways in the body that can detox. And like I say, anything that comes out, whether it's spit, urine, feces, sweat, anything else, it's all part of those detox tracts, and the body will kick stuff out at the first opportunity it can. So just give it an opportunity and it will fix itself. Okay, so moving on. Running will make you lose weight.
Well, won't it?
In some cases, yes. I mean, I've seen people that have started to run and they have lost weight, but in the majority of cases, yeah, it ain't necessarily so. I know I've mentioned before on other podcasts, I do a talk at our local running room for the half marathon group, and again, one of the first questions I ask is how many people started this to run the half marathon, or it's a goal because you want to lose weight. And a good 90% of the people put their hands up, and I say, okay, put your hand up if you've lost weight doing it, and not many people actually put their hands up. The reason is, and again, people through, again, media and just that expectation is, oh, I'm going to go and run, so I'll burn calories. So if I burn calories, I will lose weight. But if you cut your calories back too far, your running sucks. So a lot of people are having to eat enough to actually keep their running going. As Karen said earlier on about cortisol and stress, if you're doing 20 miles plus a week because you're actually training for a half marathon, then that's a lot of stress you're putting on your body. So again, there's that cortisol reaction, and how the body partitions calories out when you raised cortisol makes a difference. So again, there's a lot of different factors in there that'll actually stop you actually losing weight. And again, your body sometimes will go into that protection mode. Oh, there's a lot of calories coming out, so any calories coming in, we need to kind of hang on to those calories because we don't want to lose too much body fat because there's a lot of caloric expenditure. So there's a lot of different balls in the air when it comes to actually doing running and other cardio exercises to a higher and longer intensity, like cycling and things. And then people wonder why they don't lose weight. It's a real fine balance. So, I mean, one of the only real ways to do it is you've actually got to really log everything that goes in and then try and log everything that comes out and then try and strike a balance. And so it's a trial and error thing. So if you're, again, running, we'll keep with running. So if you're running and you're running X amount and you log all your calorie intake that you're going in and your weight doesn't change, but your energy's okay, then for the next week, drop your calories 100 calories a day and see how that goes. You may see a shift in your weight. If you see a shift in your weight and your weight goes down like you wanted it to and your energy's still good, then you're probably onto a good thing. If your weight doesn't move but your energy drops, then maybe you need to go the other way and go 100 calories more. It seems a little counterproductive, but adding that extra calories in will give the okay signal to the body to say, oh, okay, I'm going to relinquish some of this body fat now for energy and utilize that to help the running get better. So again, it's a little bit of, there's no tried and tested way of doing it. You've basically got to experiment. And with that experimentation, it's extra work. And a lot of times people don't want the extra work because, again, busy lives. Now they've got this running in there. Now they're trying to also eat food. When it comes to food too, again, calorie quality matters too. So again, if you're just eating tons of gels and jujubes and other things and candy to try and support your run habit, then again, you're just pumping a load of sugar in, load of sugar out. So there are a lot of, again, like I say, a lot of balls in the air, and it does take some effort to figure out what works for you. And there are, there are ways of running and losing weight. Some people can go on a higher fat ketogenic diet and do very well and run on ketones. Other people can't. It's possible to lose weight through running or a higher intensity, longer exercise program like that. But again, it just does take a lot of vigilance on your part. So not impossible, but just thinking that I'm going to go running and lose weight and run well, should I say, and keep your performance up, really probably isn't going to work that well for you. It will work, but it needs work. So there's no free ride with that one, I think. So I think that we've got a couple more left, and they're pretty much all diet related, aren't they?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, talking about diets, I mean, we've already touched on our dislike of MLM companies and diet protocols, but you again get the zealots that they'll buy into a program and, oh, this is the best one ever, this is going to work, and you will get to your ideal weight and you'll have loads of energy, so you have to follow this program. And
it worked for me.
Yeah. So it worked for that individual. Would it work for you? Might do, might not. I mean, I know that we mentioned on the last one that we did, these diet myths, about my body tolerates a higher carb intake. I don't consume processed, sugary foods. I do whole foods, vegetables, mashed potatoes, which we know that I'm never going to give up. But my body tolerates that. I'm at a good, healthy weight. My body fat's low. I don't have to micromanage what I'm doing. But just because something works for one person doesn't mean it's going to work for another. And as I said previously, my body tolerates higher vegetable starches. Your body tolerates like less of them. So it's, trying to find a balance, finding what works for you and not copying somebody else or letting somebody say, oh, do this program, this 80, 90, 130 day, whatever, and it's going to be the best thing ever.
Yeah, and I mean, it's always the classic memes you see people on social media. Yeah, I've developed this diet. I lost 50 pounds in 25 weeks. It's the best thing ever. You do it now. You buy it and you do it, and you'll get the same result. Not necessarily so, like we say. So, I mean, just always be aware that what works for one doesn't work for another. They haven't got your parents. They haven't got your lifestyle. They haven't got your metabolic rate. They've not got your job, your stress levels. You're this, you're that, you're the other. So, again, even to the point of somebody in California might be doing this diet and their exposure to sunlight, their exposure to daylight is completely different to somebody that lives in Canada. So again, all these things have a different effect on people. And so, yeah, just tread a little carefully when somebody's touting something that they do, that it isn't necessarily going to work for you. I mean, certainly take an interest, and if you want to spend if you want to spend the money and give it a go, but it's not necessarily just as, it's not necessarily going to be the be all and end all that's going to fix all the issues. And if it works, as with a lot of other things like we've said, it'll maybe only work for so long. So sometimes that diets work until your body gets used to it, and everything works until it doesn't. So
most of them are bodybuilders who've won a competition, do this 3 meals, 2 snacks a day and follow this exercise program, and, oh, I got stage ready. Yeah, but you're a guy, I'm a female, and...
You're 25, we're 50 plus, so it's all different. So we've got three to finish, and all three are always touted as like health concerns. So the three are salt, egg yolks, and high protein diets. So again, I read a book.
Take it away.
Oh, I'm off. I read a book not long ago again called The Salt Fix. A very interesting book. And again, the guy basically worked with athletes, and for him, and he increased his salt intake, and a lot of his health issues went away, and athletes' performance went up, and yeah, great. And I mean, I read it with interest. I agree that for those people, it did help. But again, there's always that blanket statement that, salt will increase your blood pressure. Well, it isn't necessarily so. And again, the guy in the book cites quite a lot of papers, and from an individualistic point of view, find out if salt actually does increase your blood pressure. So take your blood pressure, take some salt, take your blood pressure a bit later on, and then take your blood pressure in another couple of hours and see what happens. If it increased your blood pressure quite a lot, then maybe you want to watch your salt level. If it didn't make a difference to your blood pressure, then maybe salt maybe not that bad for you. Salt initially will increase everybody's blood pressure for about half an hour, I think the guy was saying in the book. So after that, I mean, the blood pressure should normalise afterwards. But again, if your blood pressure is not going up mega amounts, then, and you've got no issues with blood pressure, then what's the problem? So, I mean, from that point of view, salt is not an issue. And to be honest, having too little salt, as the guy cites in the book, having too little salt is just as bad as having too much. And it can affect energy levels, it can affect sleep levels. So one of the things I've been doing, because I mean, we again eat whole foods, and so our salt levels are normally fairly low. We're just getting salt that's naturally in the food. If you do eat a lot of processed foods, or you go to restaurants, there's often more salt in those foods. So again, your salt intake may not be a cause for concern. But again, if you do suffer from fatigue, it's worth often looking at that maybe your salt level may be a little bit too low, and just a quick Google search on symptoms for low salt. Again, don't get hypochondriac with it, but just have a look at it and see if those things kind of fall under your radar. Egg yolks, again, avoid egg yolks because of the dietary cholesterol. And I think we've said ad nauseum before that, I mean, the dietary cholesterol thing, I mean, even the American Health Department now have turned around and stuck it in the back of their last year's document saying that dietary cholesterol is really of no concern to actual blood cholesterol levels. So again, don't eat 50 egg yolks a day because that's probably not good for you. But don't just eat egg whites because you think the cholesterol in egg yolks is going to be a bad thing.
But a friend of ours years ago who was bodybuilding in the UK, he went on a hard-boiled egg diet, didn't he?
Yeah, and he didn't crap for a week. But that's another story.
Different.
So it will plug you up. But again, from that point of view, yeah, don't avoid natural foods that are higher in cholesterol. I mean, if you're eating processed foods that are higher in cholesterol, yeah, probably take a step back.
And look where the eggs are coming from. Are they naturally?
A chicken's bum.
Well. Are they naturally raised? Are the chickens in a natural habitat, or have they been inhumanely raised in cages and fed stuff that they shouldn't be fed then? I mean, look to see where they come from. And we always say, get from a butcher, get from a quality source.
Yeah, find out where your food's coming from. So yeah, don't avoid egg yolks just because you're frightened with cholesterol. Even if you're on a cholesterol medication, it make negligible difference, if any difference at all, to your blood cholesterol levels. That's regulated by your liver. And finally, again, high protein diets. We spoke about the high protein diet on the protein sparing modified fast. And people often with high protein diets it's bad for your kidneys. If you've got an existing kidney issue, then a high protein diet may not be for you. May not be for you. So, I mean, if you've got a problem with that, but if your kidneys are normal functioning kidneys, then a higher protein diet will not be an issue. If you feel ill or you have any problems or you have any issues in that kidney area, or there's any difference to your urination, or there's blood in your urine or something, then obviously stop the high protein diet and seek medical advice. But as is, you should have absolutely no issues from being on a high protein diet from a normal protein diet. And again, we spoke about it on that podcast, so I'm not going to go over it again in this one. But yeah, don't sweat it. So again, we're at the end of the half hour already. I don't know where the time goes. Or we just like to chat a lot. Probably one or the other.
Both.
So yeah, hopefully you've got some out of this. Not sure what the next podcast is going to be on, but I'm sure it'll be super interesting and you really need to tune in. So we'll see you then.
That's all we have time for right now, but we do hope that you join us for our next show. And if you want to contribute to an upcoming show by suggesting a topic that you would like us to discuss in more detail, then hop over to our website, healthyhalfhourpodcast.com, subscribe to our podcast and submit your suggestions. The Healthy Half Hour Podcast was brought to you by the 7 Day Shred, and don't forget to share our details with your friends and review our show. Until next time, thanks for listening.